Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good week. It is yet another Saturday Tech Ambrosia stream. So my week has been interesting. And by interesting, I mean, honestly, really stressful. So Sunday, last week, right? Like, right after the stream, the next day, I went to try and upgrade my home lab. I just wanted to put a couple more disks in it and add an NVMe and swap some RAM sticks that Linux was telling me was bad. So I did that. Piece of cake, right? Like, just plugging in some SATA drives, sticking in an NVMe, you know, swap some RAM sticks. No problem, right? And then when I started it back up, it wouldn't boot at all. Like, no boot at all. And the thing is, it didn't tell me why it wasn't booting. It's got a dual 7-segment display on it, right? It's on the motherboard, so you can get your diagnostic codes. Here's the thing, though: it's a generic Chinese motherboard, and those 7-segment codes don't mean anything. They're not really documented anywhere. They're not like AMI BIOS codes. They're not normal post codes that you'd see elsewhere. And the other thing, it would go through all of its little codes and then get to the one that says everything's cool and I'm booting. And then it wouldn't do anything. Like, literally nothing. I tried 4 different GPUs in it. Every single one would send a sync signal to my monitor, like just this monitor I was using here, but no video. Nothing on the screen. And, like, these are digital connections, right? So it's not like it's VGA and it's, like, off-center. I'm not seeing the blinking cursor in the corner. Nothing. Not even a blinking cursor. No post screen. No BIOS messages from add-in cards. Obviously no, Linux boot from Proxmox, nothing at all. And I troubleshot it on Sunday from like 10:30 in the morning when I started working on it, all the way through about 10:30 at night before I went to bed. At which point, I went to sleep and then was woken up by neighbors yelling in the hallway at 12:30 a.m. and went back to sleep and was woken up by a car alarm in the parking lot at 3:30 a.m. and went back to sleep and was woken up by a loud muffler guy. I don't know if I've talked about loud muffler guy before, but he's got like a Mustang in the parking lot with like glass packs. Fires up his car every morning at 5:30. He's apparently moved like one building over because he used to live in the apartment downstairs. So he would do this every morning, and there was a period in like June where I was getting horrible sleep every week. But anyway, he apparently moved away. At least down far enough in the parking lot that I wasn't hearing his car anymore until Sunday night. And I never really, my sleep schedule just really didn't recover from that. So I apologize if I look super tired. It's because I am still just exhausted from everything. So I dumped the Chinese X99 board on Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, I spent trying to get this dual socket Opteron board working. That is this chonker here. I'm like, hey, I can use all 128 gigs of my RAM, and it should still be able to run virtual machines. Should be fine. I'll have like 90% of my functionality still. It'll just be a little slower. Couldn't get that thing to work. I tried with it for 2 days after work, Monday and Tuesday, to try and get it to boot and load anything. I tried Proxmox first, of course, because then I could just transfer all my settings over. But then I just tried regular Debian, and even that wouldn't boot up on it. Really frustrating. Really frustrating. So it's Wednesdays a date night with my partners. So then Thursday, Friday, I'm like, I just need something that's gonna run this thing. I have a couple of requirements. Like, I need 3 PCI slots for the SATA controller card, 2.5 gig Ethernet, and my NVMe carrier board. Like, I need 3 PCI slots. One of them needs to be X4. The other can be X1. And I need at least 6 SATA ports on board, because I've got 4 for 2 RAID 1 arrays. And then obviously I'm going to need another SATA drive to boot from. And then I've got the 3 from my very large array, which is 3 Seagate Exos 14 terabyte drives in RAID 5. So I need 8 SATA ports, but I can get by with 6 because I've got a SATA card that I can pull all the RAID 5 stuff off onto. So, looking through my collection of motherboards, I have lots of like reasonably light model like Intel and AMD stuff that's got 4 SATA ports on it. Yeah, but not 6. Even the FM2 boards we were looking at last week, 4 SATA ports on them. Otherwise, they would have worked great. But what I ended up doing is using an HP socket FM1 board, which has been working pretty much great. I got it up and running Friday morning. Well, not Friday morning, but Friday right after work. Finished configuring all the stuff up until like Friday night, and finally had a working home lab again. But like literally the entire week has been lost to just getting my home lab back up and running. And this morning, before stream, I was making sure that I got the Apple Share Apple File Protocol daemon up and running. And it is, and I can get to file shares on this Pismo. This is what I was using to test with. Oh, so that's been my week. It's been bad. It's literally been bad. I hope everybody else had a much better week than I have. Trina sending virtual hugs. Thank you. I need them. So, talking about more fun things, right? So the title and thumbnail say I'm going to do some gigabit networking with my vintage Mac, and yes, I would like to. This is a Realtek RTL8169S PCI gigabit adapter, and supposedly there's a generic driver for these cards that works in macOS 9, which would be kind of cool, honestly. I'll bet you it'll work in like macOS 8.6, because most things that work in 9 also work in 8.6. But we're going to find out today. I have not tested this yet. This is going to be seat of the pants live. And the reason I had the Pismo out was entirely to test my my AFPD. But also I was thinking, maybe we could do some benchmarks between the Pismo and the 8500. Because the last time we saw the 8500 was when we were doing the upgrades, right? We did all the crazy upgrades to it on stream. It was great, great stream. I think we ended with like 364 megahertz on the G3 upgrade card, something like that. Some additional testing of my own afterwards. I found that the system was more stable on a 50 megahertz frontside bus than 52 or 54. But that G3 upgrade card, which was rated for 333 megahertz, has no problems running at 400. So this 8500 on my desk is now a G3 400, perfectly stable, runs like a dream. It's got that Rage 128 in it, and I also upgraded the storage from a Blue SCSI. I just had like a Blue SCSI V1, this one right here, a Blue SCSI V1, just connected in on the rear SCSI port. I took a PCI SATA adapter that's been modified for macOS use, and it works perfectly. It's the same one that I was using in my Power Mac 7200 that didn't work so great. Like it would boot from it. It was very particular about what SSDs would work with it. I ended up having to use like an 8 gigabyte SanDisk SSD that I usually use for like unlocking thin clients. You know, like semi-modern thin clients with SATA. You can pull out the like useless 1 or 2 gigabyte SSD in it and like put a normal SSD in them if it's small enough, like physically small enough SSD. But that thing always gave me problems. Like if I tried to say download a CD image, right? 200 or 300 megabytes, 400 megabytes, it would get to about 150, 170 megs and then lock up. Consistent every time I try to move a file of that size, get about halfway through it and lock up. In this machine, though, that same card in the 8500 works like a dream. Piece of cake. I've got 2 partitions on it. I think I've got macOS 8.1 and macOS 9.04. Because we're booting off of PCI SATA on an SSD, macOS 9 actually boots quickly on this thing. Also, having a 400 megahertz G3 doesn't hurt. But yeah, so that's where the Power Mac 8500 stands right now. So we've got 1 PCI slot left, and I'm going to fill it with a Gigabit Ethernet card, because why not? I'm not expecting to get big gigabit performance out of this thing, not even close, but I think it'd be funny to try it. So, the benchmarks I want to try are, I have a PowerBook G3 Pismo here. If you're not aware of what the Pismo is, it was one of the last G3 PowerBooks. I think is the last G3 PowerBook before they moved to the PowerBook G4. It's basically a blue and white G3 Power Mac in a laptop. You've got a 100 megahertz front side bus, 400 megahertz G3. It's got a Range 128 mobility on board. Like it's a pretty nice machine, honestly, and it's pretty close in specifications to the Power Mac 8500 now. Since I've got the 400 megahertz G3 in it and a Range 128, I think it'd be kind of fun to benchmark the two and see how much. I'm gonna guess this is gonna be faster, but how much faster is it really? So let's find that out. So, apologies for all the talking. Let's see who's here in chat. Jack68K was here early, says that's not how to install an Ethernet card. Raptor3 is here, says, is there Gigabit Ethernet in your Mac? More likely than you think. You got it, exactly. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech's reminding everyone that it's 20 days until VCF Midwest. I won't be going this year, I'm sorry. My plans are in place now from here until March when I move. I know everywhere I'm going so far this month, and unfortunately, I'm not going to make it to a VCF this year, including SoCal in February, unfortunately, because that's right by my moving date, and I know I'm going to be in panic mode by that point. Let's see, what else? What do we got? Who else is here? Trina, Cloud on OnePlus says, it's look who it is. Yes, indeed. Oh, Starbuck Tech asks, what distro? So my home lab was running on Proxmox, which is it's a virtualization-focused distribution of Linux built on top of Debian. So like, it's Debian. Like, Debian runs on pretty much anything, but for some reason I could not get it to run on that hardware down there. I don't know why. Charlotte is here. Sounds like a rough time. Hope the weekend is kinder. Me too. I sure hope so. Because of course I can't have a peaceful day. I've had a headache all of yesterday and most of today. It's starting to dim down now finally. But like, can I just have a nice day, please? Universe, would you give me a nice day? What else? Oh, yeah, the other thing is, so my bank does the thing. I don't know if anybody else's bank does this, but my bank, when you get a new credit card, right? So your credit card expires every 3 years or whatever. When my bank expires my credit card, they lock out the old card before they send the new one. So I usually have like a week or 3. Like the last time they did this 3 years ago, it was like 3 weeks before I had my new card in my hand. It was bad. It was full-on panic time. That was when I moved most of my bills over to my checking account instead of my credit card, because that's not great for paying bills and keeping a good credit score. So I had 1 bill left on my credit card this year when this happened. I was gonna try and get in front of this, but then like August 7th, card expires in September. August 7th, my phone provider, Ting, says, hey, we're having trouble paying your bill. I'm like, oh no. It's almost a month early for the expiration dance for the credit card. So much for getting in front of it early. It takes a week. This year it took a week for me to get the card in my hand. And that's exactly the amount of time Ting waits before they disconnect you. August 15th, I'm like trying to log into my Ting account to pay my bill and update my credit card, and it's like, hey, enter the code we just texted you on your phone. I'm like, I'm not getting a code. Why am I not getting They're usually pretty good with this. Why am I not getting my code? Check my email. You've been disconnected. Great. So literally yesterday, while I'm at work, I call on my desk phone there because it's my only phone that works at that point. And you know, call their help center. Thankfully, it was like a 4-minute wait, and I got to somebody right away. And I got it taken care of in like 10 minutes. But geez, can I just get a little bit of relief, maybe, please? Oh, So anyway, that's been my week, and now I've got a gnat. I thought I got all of them. So there's my week. It's been a roller coaster. Jack68K says, where did that go? I just glanced at it. I don't know. Gigabit speeds on a Realtek chipset. I'll believe it when I see it. Hey, you know, the 2.5 gigabit adapter I have in my home lab right now is a Realtek, and it does 2.5 gigabit. So it could happen. Something tells me that the chipset on the 8500 is going to be our limiting factor. Something tells me. All right. Who else do we have? Clarkshot One Plus says panic at the apartment. Yeah, exactly. It's been a panic week. Oh yeah. The other thing. Apologies in advance if the lights here blink out, because apparently it's random brownout day. I got 2 little quick brownouts today, right before stream. So hopefully they've figured out what's going on and they fixed it. But yeah, if that happens, the stream won't end because I've got my network utility stuff is on a UPS, and the streaming PC is on a UPS. Obviously the lights aren't, because they're just lights. But yeah, that's what happens. Then you know what's going on. It's been a day. All right. Dave's Vintage Appletech says, wow, your week keeps getting better and better, Amber. Yeah. I hope this weekend's gonna be nice. I really hope. Alright, so let's fire up. I need to plug in my VGA to HDMI, and then we're gonna fire up the Pismo, get some baseline benchmarks. Not really with anything in particular, but we'll see if we've got, oh, what do we got? Trina says you should just take the plunge and move to Canada. You have no idea how difficult it is to get into Canada from the US. I've looked, because I would love to. I'd love to live in Vancouver. I miss being close to the ocean. Let's get the power plugged in here. And there we go. We'll switch over to our capture card. Cool. Let's fire this thing up. Oh, it's been a week. It's been a week. The capture card's probably not going to display anything until we're into the boot process. There we go. Takes a little bit for it to display anything. Wow, that's a very different color than the LCD. That should not be magenta. Huh. Alright, let me set this to mirroring, because I think it's on extend. Monitors. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Let's do... There we go. And... Oh, really? Okay. It'll only do 1024 by 768. Sure. Okay. It just looks really, really small on the LCD. It's fine on the capture. That's not bad. That's funny though. It's such a different purple. Huh. Okay. Anyway, so we've got the Pismo booted up, and if I connect to pull over the chooser here, Apple Share. I've got Apple Share IP working. I don't know if I have Apple Talk working yet, but the Quadro 700 will come in time. Connect to the home lab, and For whatever reason, I can't get it to connect as my user account that I have on the thing, but it'll do it as guest. So we do guest. And then I've got all the stuff on the old Mac volume. There we go. We've got Apple File Protocol through Linux. And you can see this is on the very large array because we have 26 terabytes available, roughly. That is it's a lot of storage. That's a lot of storage. Let's see if we can make this a list and we can see how big everything is. There we go. Let's grab something large and see how quickly it transfers it. This is also a spoiler to what we're going to be doing later in the stream. Quake 2, Quake 3, I've got some hardware accelerated games and stuff to check. Because the Rage 128 and the 8500 is working perfectly. That's not bad. That's not bad. Unfortunately, we don't get a, like, it's not telling us how fast it is, but that's pretty fast. This machine is booting off of an SD to IDE that's inside it. It no longer has a hard drive. I tore it out, replaced it with an SD to IDE. So, like, write speeds aren't going to be amazing on this thing. But what I'm mostly interested in is CPU and graphics performance versus the 8500. So the bad part is, for whatever reason, I can't seem to enable write access. I can't log in as my own user account for whatever reason. And even though I have guest read write allow set in my AFPD config, it still doesn't let me. Obviously, it's just read only. Which is frustrating. It's very frustrating. This sure doesn't look like it's 1024, does it? This seems like this is a 640 by 480. Oh, it's 800 by 600. No, it doesn't. It doesn't change the resolution. How nice. What if it? Oh, I know why. That's the internal display. Give me this one. Let's at least do. Let's try 1024. That's more like it. That's more like it. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's a little small. Well, that's beautiful. Okay, yeah, let's do that. 800 by 600. Mirroring video in macOS, classic macOS. It's a weird thing. Starbuck Tech says, she may use Xfinity. Yes, unfortunately, I am stuck with Xfinity. Good old Comcast. Trina says, totally not enough storage. Raptor3 asks, is that a ThinkPad behind you? You gotta be a little more specific. That's, there's a lot of stuff behind me. Do you mean this one up here? That's my work laptop, and yes, that's a ThinkPad. It's actually one of the newer ones. It's like 11th gen Tiger Lake. It kind of sucks. They changed the cooling fan on it. It's really loud. I had a P40 for work for a while, and it was pretty nice. But it was like 6th gen. It's like a Skylake, so not super fast. Tiger Lake's a nice upgrade, but I'm not happy with the machine itself. That's my work laptop. It's from work. It belongs to work. It does not belong to me. So let's grab Quake 3 and pull it over here too. That's pretty speedy. This is connected on the built-in Ethernet, which is only 100 base T at maximum. So don't expect like ultra fast network performance from this thing. But also, like, it's not running an SSD. like the 8500 is. I8386SX says, I built a NetWare server to get around most cross-platform hijinks. That would actually work. You know, I found some really good documentation on NetAtalk, you know, the Linux Apple Share library, on the Novell website, of all places. Wild. Raptor3 says, yes, what type? A 480. No, I think it's a P15. It's P15S. It's pretty modern. Oh. Starbuck Texas. I use Xfinity as well. I could tell by the IPs. Yeah, unfortunately. Alright, so what I really need to get off of here is these things are going to come over to the 8500. We're going to check those out on its Rage 128. But I want... Oh, I think I already copied it on here. Nah. I want MacBench. I downloaded this earlier. There it is. Because I'm really curious about the speed difference between these two machines. Because this is a 100 megahertz frontside bus, and I think it's got a faster level 2 cache. Because it's actually like the level 2 cache, and this is designed to run with the CPU at 400 megahertz. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see what this does. Do the CPU benchmarks. So this will be integer ALU benchmarks. Raptor3 says, I'm getting into ThinkPads and Linux. I wish I could buy a ThinkPad. There are some, yeah, Clarjon1 says there's some good deals on refurbished ones on eBay, and yeah, there are some terrific deals on older ThinkPads. And they're the old ones at least, are very, very repairable. So there's a 1240. That looks pretty familiar, considering the benchmarks we were seeing on the 8500. Let's do the floating point. See how that is. I've got that thing where, like, the ibuprofen is killing the headache, the pain from the headache, but I still have, like, the loopy feeling from having the headache. I don't know if anybody else gets that, but maybe it's a migraine, I don't know. It's what I don't need. So I saw about a 990 on the 8500 at 400 megahertz on floating point, so I'm curious to see what we'll get on this one. The faster frontside bus should help because, well, look at that, 985. We're pretty much there. Nice. All right, I'm gonna do the graphics benchmark. Graphics. Let's just do the graphics benchmark. You might want to look away if you're prone to sensitivity to flashing lights, because this is going to do a whole bunch of like silly things to the monitor. But graphics benchmark doesn't need this CD-ROM. Daffy machine. Come on, let's go. Oh, apparently it won't do it. Oh, interesting. Huh. Never mind then. That's unfortunate. I'll just do the main tests. Because this should do some... This should do some graphics benchmarks. Just like line drawing and stuff. I don't need to, like, display bitmaps and things. Come on. let's go. Well, while these are running, what's everybody working on these days? Got anything fun going on? I live in the future. Oh, yeah, no, I think you're thinking of the date and time on this thing. It seems that Amber lives in the future. That is because of the power outage. This Pismo doesn't have a clock battery anymore, so it lost power long enough to lose its date and time. I8386SX says I need to restock the dumpster fire known as my eBay store. I'm interested. See if I can find your eBay store. You can post your eBay store in the chat if you want. Hey, Trina says I streamed earlier today and did my first reflowing of a video card. How did that go? More brave than I am. I don't think I can reflow a graphics card. I8386SX says, oddly enough, that eBay store includes Pismo PRAM batteries. I might have to sidle on by there. Oh, ClarJohn1 Plus says, your list of files from the read-only drive earlier was saying the files are from 2040. Okay, yeah, it's probably a, oh yeah, it's not going to do graphics benchmarks. Okay, whatever. It's probably a date conversion error. I don't know why I would say 2040, but that's weird. I wonder if it's, because I don't have the date set correctly here. No, because it should have said it was 1904. Oh well, whatever. I'm gonna screenshot this, and then we will fire up the 8500. Actually, I'm gonna pull it off of its spot on the shelf and tear it apart, and then we'll throw that that Ethernet card in it. Whoa, excuse me. Okay, let's switch to the desk cam. Here we go. This desk has been just packed full of stuff for the last week. Oh. Alright, let's quit MacBench. Don't save. Shut this baby down. There we go. Love this machine. These PowerBook G3s are probably my favorite computer ever made. I never owned one back when these were new, but I had a friend who had a Lombard, and geez, it's just such a good-looking machine. Love it. Also, they've been super reliable. Super duper reliable. Alright, so we need our mouse and keyboard. I've got the classic aircraft carrier, the Apple extended keyboard too. Oh, this thing is just monstrous. Okay. I had to clear some stuff out of here because we don't have enough room to put an 8500 on this desk yet. Get rid of the graphics cards. Get rid of a power supply for the G3. Okay, I don't have a good place to put this at the moment. Oh, I'm gonna put it over here. Some leftover spindler plastics from the last time we looked at the 8500. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. Alright, get the Ethernet card and it's very large. Screwdriver. Oh wow, that's a great view. You can see so much. Let me see if I can rearrange y'all. One sec, sorry. That's better. There we go. Go away, Nat. You're not wanted here. Oh, I gotcha. Ah, sucker. Alrighty. Let's see if we can get this thing off here. This is the worst case, like, ever. Oh, there we go. Let go. Let go. There we go. Alright, so we want the inside of this thing. You can't see anything. Let's see. Let me move some stuff around on my desk here. RAM from the home lab. So move this stuff around. I can put the keyboard on the desk and have enough room to work on the 8500. Ta-da! And let y'all see it. Look at that. Amazing! Okay, let's get this plugged in to Ethernet. Plug it into. And then we're going to need the Gigabit card. That goes in. And yeah, if you're looking at this and you're like, wait, why is this stuff bright orange? That's because I reprinted this. The whole power button assembly had basically crumbled into dust because spindler plastics. And I printed a fresh one. It works pretty well. All right. One PCI slot left. This is going to go in there. I cannot see a thing. A little bit cramped. Uh-oh. Some more spindler plastic has gotten out. Okay. Whoop. Get in there. There we go. Nice. Alright, let's power this thing on, and you can see on the front, there's my SATA SSD. Works fine. The poor motherboard tray. It's all spindler plastics, it's all broken now. Aw, poor thing. Alright, so let's boot this thing up. And... oh yeah. That is the fan on the G3 card slowly losing its mind. Helps if I plug in a keyboard. Keyboard. Let's get the mouse installed too. Have a bad time otherwise. Exactly. Clarja 1 Plus says, replace the spindler plastics with plastic printed from a spindle. Yeah, so apologies. It's gonna be loud, I guess. It wasn't that loud the last time I fired it up, but it will quiet down. I just need to replace the fan on the G3 upgrade card, apparently. So 1 sec, sorry about the loud. Switch over to the capture card. Alright, should boot. It booted last time. Give it a second. I see it's quieted down. It's not booting. Great. Come on. What is your issue? Hey, Trina. Trina says it worked last time I booted it 25 years ago. It's been 2 weeks. Give me a break. I booted 2 weeks ago. Morgan says connect the screen. It is connected. We've got a Rage 128 in here and it is connected over VGA. On the back. Let's see if I can hit the CUDA button. See if that'll magically fix our problem. Oh, where the heck is it? It's way the heck back there. The worst possible spot. There it is. Okay. Come on, you. Trina says, hit it with a hammer. Let's not. Thank you, Clara John. Hit it with a hammer.net. That is a thing. Hit it with a hammer.net. Alright, maybe it doesn't like this card being in here. I guess it'll be a short gigabit networking stream if it doesn't like the Ethernet card. So I can get the card out of there. Appreciate it, Morgan. I'm way ahead of you. So the way this machine boots is it will send a sync signal to the VGA to HDMI. So it'll say no signal. And then once it's done initializing the hardware, you'll get a picture if it's working. Currently, it's not working. You gotta realize this is a 30-year-old machine. Sometimes it's a little ornery. Alright. Pull the Rage 128 out of here. That'll give me access to the Ethernet card to pull that out of here. Plug the Rage 128 back in. And plug the video back in. Alright, let's see if it will do anything without the Ethernet card in there. Hey, stay in there. Now we've got no chime. That's fun. What is your problem? Why are you being so mean today? It's always something, I swear. Chime. Thank you so much for the super chat, Ron. Ron says, networking on these old Macs, gigabytes. It sure does sometimes. It sure does. It's being ornery. It really doesn't want it. It really doesn't want to boot. For crying out loud. So we're basically at the reseat all the cards stage of booting the 8500. This is where I was a couple of weeks ago. I was really hoping it would just, you know, work. Be nice. It'd be nice. All right. Let's see. Oh, helps if I unplug the VGA. Come on out of there. get the G3 card here. Oh, this one sucks. Ow, ow. We're gonna flip this thing over on its side again, because it's actually super easy to work on when it's positioned like a desktop system. Irony of ironies. You can hear all the undiscovered spindler plastic still rattling around inside this thing. Alright. There's the G3 upgrade card. I'm just going to reseat the SATA card real quick, because I don't think that's the problem. But I'm going to give it a try anyway. There we go. That's more like it. Plug our processor card back in there, because that's so annoying. I'm going to make a video on this machine, and I'm going to call it the best Macintosh, because it's so not. Case falls apart, super annoying to work on, but oh boy, it'd be super fun to troll everybody on it. Get in there. Okay, that is the G3 card in. We'll just do the Rage 128 for now. Do not make me have to take you all apart. I'm sick of doing it. All of the jostling, unplugged SATA cable, so let's plug that back in. Come on. This case. Such a bad design. Such a bad design. Alright, fire this up. Power's on, turns immediately off. That's not a good sign. What is going on? Processor card not completely seated. There we go. Just amazing. And by amazing, I mean terrible. Yeah, that's fair. Ron says I put all the original CPU cards back in my old Macs. They're 100% less trouble. We can do that. I don't want to, because I'd like to get this benchmark done. Let's see if... No, it still doesn't want to do it. Well, you know what? We'll try it. Let's put the original card back in there. Now I've got a couple of CPU cards for this thing. I've got the one that it came with, which is this one. This is a 604E233. And then I've got the original card that would have shipped with it, which is a 604-120. We can throw the 604-120 in it. There's another gnat. I killed one and another one appears. I hate it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. With the 604s, well, maybe the 233 would work, but I don't think the 120 is going to have enough oomph to actually get gigabit networking. Alright, before I make it impossible to reach down here, I'm going to hit the CUDA button. Let's get the CUDA reset. There we go. And, because it's impossible to see the registration marks on this thing, to align the CPU, stand up. Okay, it's actually in there. Alright. So default, we're going to be booting macOS 9, so I wouldn't expect this to be a performance powerhouse. Go ahead and fire it up. Oh, you know what? I didn't plug in the monitor this time. That's my problem. It would appear the PowerMac 8500 has become cranky. Joe says, I see the problem. Your video capture system thinks it's a PC. Switch it to Mac mode. Charlotte says this Mac is such a brat. It sure is. I have a surefire way to make it work, though, and that is to take it completely apart. So we're only an hour into the stream. Let's do that. This works pretty much every time. If I just take the whole thing apart, it'll work. For at least as long as it is taken apart. So we can run it outside of the case. Try out the Gigabit card. I'm sure it'll work. If you're curious what the SATA card is, it's this one. The little silicon image. You just flash these with a Mac-compatible BIOS. Like, you can buy these on AliExpress for like 10 bucks. Flash it with a Mac-compatible BIOS and you can boot right off of it. It's pretty great. Okay. Unplug keyboard, unplug Ethernet, unplug. Come on, get out of there. Oh, probably power plugged in for now. So, taking it all apart means this unfortunately sad motherboard back here. It's got to come off. That is just a single Phillips head screw. Bear in mind, this is what Apple expected you to do if you just wanted to upgrade the RAM in this thing. You can get to the slots and the CPU without taking the motherboard out. But you can't get to the RAM. It's a really boneheaded design. We gotta unplug some cables. So we get the main power cable. There's the SCSI 2 cable. That's the floppy drive. Switch back over to the desktop so y'all can see this. Sorry about that. Ta-da! So that's SCSI cable, main power cable, floppy cable, auxiliary power. So grab that. Actually, this is much easier if I get the CD-ROM drive off of here first. It should just be... There we go. Come on. There we go. That CD-ROM drive super doesn't work. It doesn't even have the right bezel for it. The bezel in the front of the case is for the original caddy loader, and that's the later 600i tray loader. Doesn't even have the right bezel. So once we've got the screw out, we've got all the cables disconnected. Oh, I forgot about the speaker. Gotta hit the speaker. The motherboard just slides backwards and then pulls out. So let's get the front switch out of here. It just has to be moved just a little bit. There we go. And this should just slide out. Little push from the back. There's one latch on the top. This one's a pretty tight fit, but it should just slide through. There we go. And there is the board. Ta-da! There's our board. So what I've been doing with this is just flip it around, run it this way, because most of these power cables will reach this direction. It is ornery. You are super not happy today. There we go. Yeah, just sit there. You're fine. The RAM is 5-volt fast page mode DIMMs. These are actually EDO modules. This board will use them. It just doesn't use any of the EDO features, but it'll run them just fine. I'm going to pop them all out and reseat them, just in case. And first I got to remember to get that speaker plugged back in, so we have boot confirmation sound. That's what these things look like. They're just DIMMs, dual inline memory modules, but they have old style fast page mode chips on them. They're real weird. Not super uncommon though, it turns out. I thought they'd be less common. They're pretty easy to get your hands on though. Turns out. Apologize for the squeaky chair. It's old. I need to replace it. Just haven't. This one here, nestled in between these, that's the level 2 cache. Okay, so we've got RAM reseated. These are the VRAM sims for the onboard video. They're completely proprietary. We shouldn't have to worry too much about them because we're going to use the Rage 128, but, you know, never hurts to reseat them. Okay. This is a ROM sim spot. This is for the main processor card. And I'm going to live dangerously and throw the G3 back in it because it should work. Darn it. It was working before. And our Rage 128. goes in. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna plug in the SATA card first, because otherwise I'm gonna have a bad time. Way in there. Oh, get in there. There we go. SATA card. Page 128. Now, if this doesn't work, then I'll troubleshoot from first principles, and we'll take out all the cards and see if it'll boot with nothing installed. But it should just go. It should. All right. Let's get video and everything else installed. All my plugs are on the back side now. Get keyboard. Run this through the other side, maybe. No, not enough room. Pulling on the motherboard a little bit. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay. I want onboard Ethernet first to start with, because we've got to get the driver. It should be everything I need for now. And video, obviously. Plug the video into the video card. I'm good at this, I swear. Nothing like some live demo. Oh, this is actually it. There we go. Okay. Hit that CUDA reset one more time. A couple of times for good luck. Let's see what it does. Switch over to the capture card. It's CUDA. Let's reset the CUDA again. It does not like it. It does not like it. I don't know if you have to hold in the CUDA button or what, but all right, we'll do the not the G3 card. Fine, you're gonna be that way. Joseph Blasey says some Macs need a good battery installed to boot. Thankfully, this is not one of those. But yes, some Macs do need a good battery to boot. Okay, this is the original processor card, the 120 megahertz. See if this works. CUDA button. Power button. Nothing but hissing off of the speaker. Fun! Fun, fun. It's not working. See how I said at the start of the stream that I hadn't tested this? This is how you know I hadn't tested this ahead of time. I'm gonna reseat this RAM because I'm guessing I got some of it wrong. It's not happy. Oh, that is an unhappy Mac. Alright, well, what did I say? We'll go back to first principles. If it doesn't work, we'll troubleshoot from first principles. Let's do that. Great. Now I can get that off of the floor. Come on. Get out of there. Get out of there. You too. Okay. Processor card. One sec. I need to go grab a Mac to PC video adapter. Just picked up a couple new ones of these, but I know this one works. Let's see. VGA, SVGA, just needs 3 and 4 turned on. If you haven't seen one of these before, we've got VGA on one side, probably looks familiar, VGA, and then Mac monitor port on the other. So this will go into the onboard video. Right here. I'm going to plug in that VGA into this. Go grab that VGA off the floor. Okay. So we are back in mostly stock configuration. Let's see what we get. Ta-da! I hope it's not that Rage 128. They're not easy to find these days. Okay. It's gonna have a bad time booting since the SATA card is not in there. But let's see if it gets to the question mark. Okay, good. I'll throw the SATA card in there, see if it works. Hopefully it's not the SATA card, because that would be annoying. It would be so annoying. It's not precarious at all. Oh, there we go. The worst PCI slots, I swear. What did you guys do to these? It makes them so bad. Okay. Let's try it with the SATA card. Trina asks, do you have another GPU to try on that machine? Unfortunately, no. Like I said, it is not super easy to get a hold of these Mac-specific Rage 128s. I hope it's not this. We'll find out in a second here. We're on the original 604-120 CPU, so this is going to take a little while to boot. This is macOS 9, I think. Starbuck Texas, well, that seems like progress. I'd feel better if we got past the Happy Mac screen here. It doesn't seem promising. Thing is, it's not as happy as it looks. The SATA plug on the end of this adapter card is not amazing. It doesn't really securely set into the card, so let's see if that's all that happened there. Got a mouse. Come on, baby. I know it's macOS 9 and it's slow, but it should not sit at this screen for this long. Let's go up one CPU and see if we can make it a little faster. Come on. Come on. Oh. So this is 604E233. Interestingly, this CPU card has no Apple branding on it, so I think this came out of a Power Mac clone at some point. This is what the 8500 arrived to me containing. Imagine my surprise when I first turned it on, and it's like, it's not a 604-120, it's a 604E233. See what we get. Chime is good. Mouse, good. Do we have boot? I can hear it doing things. Like, the capacitors in the power supply aren't amazing. So I can hear some coil line. There we go. See, we're actually booting this time. There we go. Okay. The 233 is working. So I'll let this boot up, and I will switch to the G3 card, because I'll betcha it'll work. Because that's the kind of machine this Power Mac is. Sam Talent says, hi, can you try Windows 95 one day? Oh, absolutely. We've got a bunch of machines here with Windows 95 on them. Whole bunch. This is probably saying, yep, not set the correct time because I don't have battery in it. Okay. Can you tell what I was testing on this the last time I had it running? Alright, in the interest of changing one thing at a time, I'm going to plug the Rage 128 into it, see if this still works. maybe it just doesn't like being in its case, which, you know, honestly, that's fair. Its case is pretty terrible. Let's plug our VGA into the Rage 128. Okay, too many things over here. There we go. The best part about VGA is you can usually connect it without seeing it. Make sure our SSD is still plugged in. Yep, okay, has not wiggled loose. Okay. No! Crud! Darn it! Darn it! Darn it! Darn it! Really? What if I put you in the bottom PCI slot? Will you work? Will you please work? Now this Rage 128's dead. That's really annoying. Okay, well, I guess we'll see if we can get Gigabit networking to work with the built-in video. We can't, so here's the thing, right? The thing about the G3 upgrade card is that it does not work with the onboard video on the 8500. So you have to have a separate video card. That's the primary reason that I got the Rage 128. Also, like, it's kind of cool to run 3D stuff on this thing. With that broken, that means no G3 upgrade for this thing. So, we're stuck with the 604E at 233, and I don't know if this is going to have the oomph to do gigabit networking. I don't know. This is roughly equivalent to a Pentium. It's somewhere between a Pentium and a Pentium Pro. 233 in terms of speed. I don't know if it's going to have enough speed to do gigabit. Okay. Plug in the gigabit card. Go in there. How are these PCI slots this bad? There we go. It's just PCI. Let's see if this boots with the PCI Ethernet card. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Yeah. This one was a little weird. So, it's got a bodge wire on it. It's got two bodge wires on it that I've never seen on another Mac Rage 128. I wonder if it was damaged already before it even got to me, and it just lived its last days in my care. There's the bodge. And this is there's the other bodge up at the top. They seem kind of important. They're both voltage. One is from this voltage regulator to a random resistor on the board, and then the other one crosses, I think, a fuse spot. I think that the upper one is where a fuse would go, like if you had the TV out module. I don't know. I don't know. Just have to go hunt for another one, I guess. Frustrating. So let's see. I should be able to get to my file server No. Come on. 10.0.0.1.23. And we're going to do guest, because I don't know why registered user doesn't work. Should be on the old Mac volume. Beautiful, look at that. So nice to have some native networking. Let's see. All this stuff that needs hardware acceleration, I can't run it. I'm annoyed. Here we go. exe is a sit file. Okay. I haven't looked at this driver yet. I don't know how bad this thing is. We've got a readme in BB edit format. Okay. This is great. Okay, if your vendor and subsystem IDs are not correct, you can get a binary editor to edit the driver. I hope we don't have to do this, but we might. We just might. That's gonna be no fun at all. Where's my stuff it? There's my stuff it. Why is there an installer Apple script? Realtek really think Mac users are that dumb that you can't install an extension? That's the same readme. Okay. Well, let's, I'll humor them and I'll run their installer Apple script. Oh, he doesn't know how to do it. I'm just gonna install this manually. For crying out loud. That's hilarious. Pathetic. Right? Ian Scott's like, oh, RMG, hex edit the driver. Love it. We should be able to, I mean, if it's stored anywhere reasonable, like, we should be able to modify it with ResEdit. Clarjon 1 is headed out. Have a good night. The 604E233 is this stupid math. Jeez. The 604E233 is pretty nice, but it's not a G3400. Gosh, it's so not a G3400. I think when we benchmarked it, it scored something like a 427 or so on the integer. Versus, you know, Power Mac 6160's 100 baseline score. But it's not the 1200 of the G3. No control panels. I guess let's go to the network control panel. Well, I guess I don't know if this is working. I guess I just plug the network into it and see if it works, right? I don't hold out a lot of hope for this, though. Card go blinky. Do we have network? Probably set my date and time. .30 p.m. That looks like that's a no-go. That would appear to not be working. Okay. Do I have my... There it is. Where's my copy of Reset? It's gotta be in here. It's not in there. Oops. Reset it. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Does the installer script do anything else? I think we're gonna have to hex edit this guy, Steven. Do I have a hex editor on here? That's a great question. Let me try a reboot real quick and see if it needs something plugged into it before it'll work. We're really annoyed by that Rage 128. Yinzi says they called the internet via dial-up the information superhighway. What would they have called gigabit at the time? Probably ludicrous speed. It's the internet gone to plaid. Raptor 3 says, might have a little rage. Yeah, indeed. And Joe says, information warp drive. For real. What have we got? We're not locked up, but oh, there we go. It's just taking a long time to boot, that's all. Pokey. Pokey pokey. Yeah, I don't think it's seeing that card. Shoot. Oh, that's a bummer. Guess plug this back into the 10 base T. See if we can find a hex editor. Come on. You were just in there. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. See if we can get anything. Classical on here. Was I smart? Did I put it on here? Yes, I was smart. This is going to be so slow on the 604E. Well, hey, I mean, you know, like we got 24 people here, 21 likes. Just 3 people are allowed to not like it. I mean, it is not going exactly to plan, so that's fair. Johnny Chang asks, is that an ISA adapter? Did I spell that wrong? MacintoshGarden.org. Why are you having trouble? Now, none of my Ethernet works. Great. Okay. Let's shut this down and take out the card. Because apparently none of my Ethernet's working. Yeah, Garth says they're still showing a self-assigned IP and TCP. I was hoping that by, you know, opening Classilla and like trying to get to the internet, that it would do DHCP, but apparently not. Once corrupted by the hand of the real tech, apparently nothing works. Which is fitting, honestly. Johnny Chang asks, can the old Macintosh do a speed test run? Unfortunately not speed test. Now why aren't you booting? This thing is so annoying. Gosh, what is your problem? Come on. It's always something, I swear. There we go. Jeez. Yeah, exactly. Hardened Held says that it really is just one of those weeks. It sure is. It sure is. Freaking Nat. Gosh. so frustrating too. This ran so nicely and just died. I don't even know why. It's all solid state. There's like, it's got one tantalum capacitor on it. There's no electrolytics or anything on this thing. I don't know why it died. Really annoying. Frustrating. Let's see if we can get on the internet now. That's true. That's true. It does have a fair amount of RAM in it. It's not a ton. It says 256 megs. Oh, this NAT is just pissing me off. Go. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it could be anything, really. You're talking about a card from like 1998. Why doesn't it work? Who knows? Who knows what's happened in the preceding 25 years? See if we can find a hex editor. Edit this driver. It's true. Garth says classic macOS isn't like hot plugging anything, even Ethernet. I don't want a game. Hex editor for disks. If you want to directly edit your hard drive, that's probably a bad idea. Hex edit 107. Are you for classic macOS? Please be for classic macOS. 1993, that's definitely going to be for classic macOS. I don't know why this doesn't put it in my downloads folder. I've saved things in my downloads folder several times. Where is my downloads folder? I guess that's a good question. Maybe it's because I don't have a downloads folder. Alright, fine. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Alright. Got our hex editor. Right. is it 1089? What's the vendor code for this? 10EC. 10EC. See. Anybody know the vendor code for Netgear? I don't remember. $13.85, maybe. Oh, perfect. Well, let's give that a try. Gareth says if you put it back in, reboot, and check in the Apple System Profiler, it should tell you the PCI device ID. Let's give it a try. Francois says yes, 1385 is Netgear. Awesome. So let it sit for a sec and do the memory check. Just be patient. It's tough to be patient on stream, but I hear some coil whine. There we go. That is a long memory check. Dang. Come on, baby. So that was the thing too. Garth says Garth got a good deal on the PowerMac 9600 he bought a few years ago because the seller said it booted with no video, but they just didn't wait the 60 seconds for the RAM test to go through. That was the same thing with this one. I found this on eBay for cheap because the seller says it chimes but no video. I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. And yeah, it's been working fine. Other than the Rage 128 dying on me, which is super annoying. Okay, so App System Profiler. So I think we go to Devices, maybe? Yes. There you go, 1385, 31, 311A. That's the one. Okay. So let's do some hex editing. This won't be sketchy at all. Oh, this is hilarious. Let's just let's hex edit a driver, kids. Okay. So we need 10 EC. Yeah, there we go. 10 EC. That becomes 1385. And 8169 turns into 311A. Find the next one. If this works, I'm gonna laugh. Alright, that's it. Should be all the ones we have in there. Alright, I'm gonna throw this in. Why does my double click not work? Throw this in here. Throw this in here. Here we go. Ah, system profiler is so slow. Gosh. Alright, get out of here. Let's shut down. I'll switch the Ethernet connection. Oh, see if this thing works. If this works. Device ID. So 1385 is the vendor ID for Netgear, and it's a Netgear card. Yeah, so the vendor ID is 1385, and then the device ID is 311A. Jack68K says, I love a good hex editor. Yeah, Joe, I think we're cruising for that. Joe says, unimplemented trap, please reboot. Yeah, we're probably cruising for a bruising with this one. Or type 11 error, yeah. Hopefully. Like I said, if this works, I will laugh. We zoomed right past the R's. Maybe it worked. I guess we'll find out. God, macOS 9 is slow. Jeez. Like I said, with the G3 installed, like, macOS 9 is bearable, but geez, it is so slow on the 604. Jack68K says probably should have installed MaxBug. I've got some development stuff on here somewhere. Just gotta root it out. Okay, there we go. So, what are we gonna find in the TCP/IP control panel? Ethernet. Just one Ethernet port. It's self-assigned. I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working. Our lights on the card. Check that again, Garth. Garth says should be set to device ID vendor ID 10EC1385. 10EC is Realtek's vendor ID. That is not happy. Let's see. Double check what was in System Profiler here. Okay, yeah, no, card vendor ID 10EC. Alright, well, let's set it back to 10EC. I think it's still 311A, though. That is weird. Alright. Very strange. Very strange. Duplicate, stick it there. Let's do... It's weird that it doesn't use the Netgear vendor ID. It is a Realtek chip on it, yeah, but it's a Netgear card. So Netgear could set their own vendor ID. Let's see, I need to... Is this... This one is still stock, this is still 10EC. Did I miss one in here? No, there's 10EC, 10EC. It should just be 3 places. Okay, so we're saying vendor ID 10EC, and then device ID 311A. Let me, you know what, before we do anything, I'm going to take the extension out and see what it reports with no extension installed. I bet that's the wrong folder. I bet that's the, because I had this thing in here already. Let's see what it does. Yeah. Yeah, Garth says for Netgear, vendor ID should be 1385. Yes, we covered that about halfway up the chat there. I thought it would be 1385, and then I thought the device ID we found in there was 311A. But I guess not. I'm gonna see what it says without a driver installed. That being said, I did just copy the driver out of the extensions folder and it wasn't edited for some reason. I think I may have copied the wrong extension into the extensions folder. So we'll do this all over again. It'll be great. Okay. What does Apple System Profiler say? Oh, Joseph Blasi says ATI driver's not installed. You missed it. The Rage 128 died. Apparently. It was working the last time I used it, which was a couple of weeks ago, and while it was sitting in the computer, it just died. The Mac does not boot with that installed anymore, which is very annoying. So this still says the card name is PCI 1385-311A. Card vendor ID is 10EC, which is Realtek, but the card name has the Netgear. Starbuck Tech says we should test the 128 in another system to see if it still works. I don't have any other PCI Macs, unfortunately. This is my only PCI Mac at the moment. Oh, actually, no, wait. Ron gave me a beige G3, so I do have a beige G3 I can test it in. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lie. So, PCI 1385-311A. Right, so we're going to do this again. So put this over in the corner. Right, so there's our card name. PCI 1385, 311A. So there's our driver. If I grab my hex editor here, we'll hex edit this driver. And find 10EC is the original. There we go. You can see in here, PCI 10EC, 8169, which is if it was a generic Realtek card, that's exactly what it should be. So we're going to replace that, move this out of the way so you can see the Apple System Profiler. So we replace that with PCI 1385, 311A. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? So 1385, 311A. $13.85, 311A. There's one more in here. There it is. PCI 10EC, that becomes 1385. 311A. Then we'll just do a find. Upwards, downwards. That's it. That's all that's in here. Right, if we just look for 10EC. Nope, not in the file anymore. Okay. Let's try this. If I save this as so that should be right here. Here we go. Let's see if that works. I think I didn't put the right driver in there. I'm pretty sure I copied the stock driver back into it the first time. We'll get there. We'll get there. Even booting off an SSD macOS 9 is slow. Ugh. Okay, let's see what we've got. Come on. Pokey. Pokey, pokey, pokey. Yeah, right? Starbucks Texas, toes crossed. Absolutely. Fingers and toes crossed. We survived boot, which could mean nothing, as we've seen before. So let's go to the TCP/IP control panel. Hey! Ethernet slot C1! Look at that! That's promising. Let's, It worked! Maybe? Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. That was very laggy. We've got... Let's go to the chooser and see if we can connect to the file server. Look at that! Nice! Let's close all these. And let's copy some stuff over this thing. Let's see, view as list. Sort by size, what's the biggest stuff on here? Let's grab all of these things. Well, that's pretty disappointing. Although, to be fair, it's 2 gigs of stuff. It is moving pretty fast. It's certainly not 100 megabytes per second, though. Well, there you go. It does technically work. I wouldn't call that particularly speedy, though. Starbucks says, toe crossing worked. Joe's Computer Museum says, hacking for the win. Yeah, it's not fast, but it works. It definitely does work. Once we copy this stuff over, I'll fire up Classilla and see, like, if surfing appears to be slower. Like, I wasn't planning on getting... I was not expecting peak speed out of this thing, right? Like, this machine is pretty old architecture. 50 megahertz frontside bus, you know, conventional PCI. Even with that G3 at 400 megahertz, I figured we'd still not see the full, you know, 125 megabytes per second we should get out of Gigabit Ethernet. But I think the key is going to be, you know, is surfing negatively affected? Is, you know, anything else negatively affected? I should have benchmarked that before we switched over to the Gigabit card. I guess we can see. To find a big enough file and download it through Classilla, like HTTP, you know, like on these classic Macs, doesn't go super fast. It's like, I don't know, 200K a second. It's not blazingly fast. It's sure trying. It is sure trying. The server on the other end of this is 2.5 gigabit, so it's not the server's not the one bottlenecking this for sure. Exactly. Ron says, I'm sure this is all limited by the PCI bus controller's best effort. Yeah, I don't even know, like, I don't know if is this Nitro or TNT? This one's TNT. I don't know if the TNT chipset even has, like, PCI bus mastering. I think it does. But, like, is there DMA support? Who knows? Also, our RAM is really slow. Our frontside bus speed is really slow. Our frontside bus and PCI speeds are not synchronized, right? Like, we're not at, 33 or 66 megahertz on that frontside bus. We're at 50. Are we running the PCI at 25 megahertz instead of 33? Like, there's things we don't know about how this machine runs that are probably holding it back. Although I think with the 604E card in here, I think it runs the frontside bus at 33 megahertz. I think. I don't actually know. It doesn't say on the card, and it's not an Apple card, so documentation on it is thin on the ground. Yeah, hey Garth, it is working. I think my issue the first time we tried this was that I copied the original driver back into the system folder, into the extensions folder. I didn't copy the hex edited driver back in. Yeah, I mean, transfer 2 gigabytes to a vintage Mac. You're going to be waiting a while. This went fairly quickly, considering the age of the machine. This is a machine from 1995. We're using a processor card from 1997 in this thing, so like, it's doing all right. All things considered, it's doing all right. Yinze asks, I mean, does it even support blast processing? No, see, it doesn't. It's not a Sega Genesis. It doesn't even support blast processing. See, how much speed can we expect out of it? Okay. So what I want to try is if I open... ClassZilla is really slow at downloading things, but I think I'll try it anyway, because it's a little more stable. The other alternative is like IE5 for Mac, which isn't the greatest. If you can get it to not crash while you're downloading it, you're doing well. I swear I've set the homepage on this to Macintosh Garden. Why is it not going to the homepage? Ah, it's not. Okay. Macintosh Garden. Yep, thanks. That's where I want to go. Yeah, I mean, Joe says I run an HTTP server on my home lab, and I use a web browser to get things to my network-connected Macs. I've been doing the same thing, like it's literally only yesterday and today that I actually set up Apple File Protocol on these things. I was doing the same thing, just downloading stuff on web browsers because I had an easy, HTTP server. So let's see. Let me download this large. Let's do the macOS 9 install CD. Blank DMZ has arrived. Hello. We are surfing on Gigabit, although we're not on the G3, unfortunately, because my Rage 128 died. The G3 does not work with built-in video, supposedly. I suppose we can try it, but supposedly it does not work. So that is 456 meg download. Let's give it a try. Save it. Don't show that dialog box again. Just put it somewhere, please. I'm going to close this because there's some background JavaScript in there. This is basically testing the overhead of this driver, which it's probably not great, honestly. So lower overhead means we'll get higher speeds in downloads. Because this is downloading over the web on a machine this old is entirely CPU limited. 100%. Looks like we're topping out at about 160K. Oh, no, we're at 177. With the built-in Ethernet and the G3 card in here, I was seeing around 200K per second on downloads over HTTP. Yeah, Starbuck Tech is like, does that say an hour? Yes, and we're not waiting the whole hour. I just want to see how fast this thing goes. I'm going to shut it down and switch the Ethernet back to the built-in and see what happens. Actually, you know, I bet we don't have to shut it down. So about 177, I'd say. It doesn't look like it's changing much. Okay, so cancel this. Quit Classilla. Okay. And if I just swap this, maybe, can I just pick it up in the network control panel, maybe? Maybe. Can I do the forbidden hot plug? If I switch this back to built-in. Maybe. Oh yeah, lost the connection to the file server, that makes sense. Oh yeah, this thing, Classilla chugs on the 604E. It really wants that G3 processor. I'm gonna go look for another Rage 128 as soon as the stream is over. So MacOS 9, let's download the same image, see what happens. That's true, yeah. Garth says you should probably confirm that the Rage 128 still works. I mean, it worked in this thing just fine for quite a while. Doesn't mean it was, you know, gonna work forever, but frustrating. It's just frustrating. For a very short while, this machine was faster than that beige G3. Okay, so download this. And save it. Save it there. We'll close that window so we get rid of the background JavaScript. Yeah, see? The overhead on that gigabit adapter is just not worth it. Not for web browsing, at least. Garth, I don't know if you were here for when we plugged in the Rage 128, but it was a very unhappy camper. So that's pretty definitive. We are getting 177K on the gigabit adapter, and we're getting 500K on the built-in 10-base T. This is 10-base T. I should try copying that stuff off of the file server with this. I wonder if it's faster. Oh god, is it faster? That would be hilarious. Quit Classilla. Let's connect to the file server. I mean, it kind of schmooved, right? Like we were downloading 2 gigs or so. It kind of moved. I can't use a keyboard apparently. 10.0.0. 23. It's been too long since I used a 10 key. That's my problem. All my keyboards are 10 keyless. So we'll go with the old Mac volume. Quit the chooser. I stuck this stuff on here, I think. Yeah, there it is. So we'll sort that as a list again. Sort by size. Grab. I get down to Quake 1, I think. Yeah, it's 1.9 gigs. Well, there you go. Like, it's definitely faster at file copies. Definitely faster at file copies, but not faster at surfing. That's interesting. We learned something today. I guess I'll try the Rage 128 again. Garth said that try a warm boot after a cold boot. Okay. Let's turn this off and try the Rage 128 one more time. But it's a real unhappy camper. It makes the speaker hiss and fuzz. Oh, get in there. Okay. Get our video over here. Into the Rage 128. Doesn't like it. I just get fuzz out of the speaker. So I don't know if you can hear that because of my noise gate, but like there's just fuzz coming out of the speaker when there should be a chime. What? Why is it doing this to the speaker? Are you kidding me? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Garth Beagle, give it a kick in the pants. It'll probably work. Let's see if we can get the G3 working in this then. Yinzi asks, does the onboard NIC also go over the PCI bus? I would imagine it does. I can't imagine they would put the PCI bus on any, or the onboard NIC on anything else. Macs had a bus before PCI. It was new bus, but I don't think there'd be any reason to build new bus into, a New World Mac like, well, it's not a New World Mac, but like a PCI Mac like this. I imagine it's wired over the PCI bus. Now the question is, will it actually boot? Oh yeah, no, we're not hung. It's just taking its sweet time. That's true. Francois says if it's on the PCI bus, it should be visible in the system profiler. I can hear it doing stuff. Like the coil whine tells me it's doing things. It's just taking forever. I've stopped hearing coil whine. Wait, no? It's in an interesting place. I'm holding down the power button and it's not turning off. I think we got something crashed here. Okay. I'm gonna try the G3 card. Cause I'm a masochist. Oh, yeah, I think that's our problem. This CPU card is too hot to touch. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. I don't know. I wouldn't put it down then as a bad 128 because it's this is like literally too hot to touch. Get out of there. Unplug. Oh. Let's put in something with some active cooling. There we go. See what we get. Kind of curious to run the Gigabit, but I probably shouldn't try my luck. So let's do the CUDA switch. Power it on. That fan is awful. That poor fan. Starbucks Texas, don't push it, Amber. This is my whole thing. I gotta push it. I gotta push it. Come on, baby. Pretty please? No, I think that Rage 128 is super unhappy. I think that's what's going on. That's just super, super unhappy. Jeez. That heatsink on the 604E is still like nuclear levels warm. Jeez. G3 card seems fine. Power regulation on it is quite warm. It's certainly possible. Johnny Chang says could be the power supply unit has become unstable. That's absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. We'll push it one more time. It's making all kinds of noises now. Oh, baby. Yeah, no, I don't think it's gonna work. It's where it got to last time. It hides the mouse cursor, and then nothing happens. Well, it sort of works. It sort of works. Like, we got Gigabit Ethernet working on it. It just... The machine has become unhappy, that's all. It's just not, it's kind of sick of living. I think I'm gonna send the power supply away to get recapped, and we'll see what happens. I guess I could try downclocking the CPU. It is running at 400 megahertz. I could try setting it to 350 and see if it boots. I gotta push it. I gotta push it. I'm a maniac. I don't remember which one of these is the multiplier switch up here. I think it's this one. Set that to 8. That should be 350. It's really, really, really unhappy. Jack68K says, I'm back. What did I miss? Are we still hex editing? We got the gigabit to work. It's very good for transferring files over the network. It's not so great for surfing. And now I'm trying to push my luck by putting the Rage 128 back in, which is clearly delivering video now, and running the G3 upgrade card in it. So we'll see what happens. I'm pushing my luck presently. Yinzi says, push it until just before the magic smoke appears. Exactly. That's the idea. I think that's a no. That's a no. It's unhappy. That's a bummer. I was so proud of this thing to get to 400 megahertz the other week. I'm like, yeah, let's run some Quake 3 on this thing. We'll run some original Unreal. Turn on the hardware acceleration on the Rage 128. It'll be great. Nah. Carmack8500 says, nope. Not happening. Alright. I think that's where we're going to call it, folks. It's kind of working, but it's super unhappy. I think I need to send this thing off for some repairs. Which makes sense. I mean, how often do you pick up a vintage computer on the internet and it just works? So I think with that, I'm going to end the stream here. Hopefully you all had fun. I sure did. Once again, I've wound up with a pile of parts on my desk, but hopefully we can make this thing sing sometime in the near future. Looking forward to getting back to videos this week. Finally, with everything in my real life finally like squared away, I should have time to do videos again. I apologize for how long it's been since the last video, but yeah, I'm gonna say goodnight for now, and I hope everybody's had a good time. I hope the rest of your weekend is fun, and you have a good next week. All right. This was a thing. You're welcome. Harden Hell says, thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. All right. Have a wonderful night, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor. Have a great night.